Okay, let's take a look at this real quick. We are going to talk about loops. So first of all, the three loops are you have a for loop, which is right in here. You have a while loop, it's right in here, and then you have a do while loop right in here. So the only one, just so FYI, the only one that I'm going to be doing pretty much with nested loops, even though you can nest them all, is just a for loop. I think it'll be kind of too much of a hassle to do a while loop. While loops are good for sentinels, as you'll see in a second. So a for loop basically has three parts to it. In fact, all loops have three parts to it. The parts are you initialize your variable, which is your counter variable, in this case x. You're going to have a condition. So your condition here is going to be x is less than 10. It's going to run through when it's less than 10. And then you're going to increment x. So it's every time it goes through the loop, it goes 1. So when I say go through the loop, what it does is that it starts at 0, checks the condition, prints it out, comes down to this bracket, shoots back up, adds 1, x becomes 1, it checks the condition, 1 less than 10, prints x out, comes down here, shoots back up, x becomes 2 because we added 1 to it, 2 is less than 10, so on and so forth. You can see right out here, here is your output. It goes 0 to 9 when you go 0 to 10 because you're less than 10. But you actually print it out 10 times. Excuse me. So that's basically how a for loop works. You get three parts to it. Now, nesting it is that you just add another for loop inside of it for int x, y equals 0. And in this case, I'll just do y, we'll make it easy, y less than x. So as long as y is less than x, we're fine. And so this is actually, we're going to have to make this smaller because this is actually going to be quite huge. So 4, and then int x, y is equal less than x, put my semicolon there, and we'll do y plus plus, and then we'll do siso x plus y, okay, and then we have to put another set of brackets right here to enclose that inner loop. This one right here actually encloses that one. That one encloses, let's see, what did I do here? That's to that. Oh, I don't have a set of brackets there, that's why. And then that goes to that, and that goes to that. So now that one goes to this one goes to this one. All these loops are encased now. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have two rows of, oh, I don't want to have print line, I want to have print. So that's not on all different lines. So all this is going to do, and then I want a print line right here. Siso. There. So what this is going to do right here is it's going to print two columns of numbers, and you'll see here I'll run it. So it gives me 0, 1. Oh, what did I do here? Oh, I have to do a siso in here too. Oh, shoot. Okay, so there. Sorry, now it'll work fine. Looks nice. So here. So basically all that did is it printed me two columns of numbers, 1, 0, 2, 0, 2, 1, 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2. How this works. So again, as I've described before, you start here with this for loop right here. So for this nested loop, you have x equals 0 as long as it's less than 4, then you're going to increment every time it goes through. So x equals 0, so it meets this condition, comes down to this for loop. So it will run through this for loop. Now remember, this for loop is from that bracket to that bracket. So as long as the condition that y is less than x, it's going to run this condition. So it starts out, we have x equals 0, y equals 0, and so y is not less than x, it's equal to x. So we don't even go through this the first time. Comes down here, prints out a line, hence we have a line here that's printed, shoots to this part, comes back up, now we add 1 to x. Okay, so x equals 1, it doesn't equal 0 anymore. 1 is less than 4. We come down here to this for. Now remember, this for loop runs until y is, as long as y is less than x. So x equals 1 right now, y equals 0. So 0 is less than 1. We're going to print out x, y. So x is 1, y is 0. And then we're going to come down, print a line right here. Then we're going to come up to this bracket, shoot back up here, add 1 to y. Y is 1, x is 1, because it hasn't changed since up here. So 1 is not less than 1. We're done with the loop. We don't meet the condition. Come down here, shoot down to here. So x equals 1. Come back here. Now x equals 2. 2 is less than 4. We come down here. Same thing. Y equals 0. So y is 0 again. We're resetting y to 0. 0 is less than 2. So we're going to print here, system out print 2 plus y. Y is 0. and then we're going to print a line, come over here, add 1 to y is 1, 1 is less than 2, print out 2, 1, so we're doing this on one line. Notice that there's not a ln's, we're doing it all on one line. Here's an ln that gives us a space between that. Adds another line, so it shoots out 2, y is 2, comes out here, 2 is not, because remember x is 2, 2 is not less than 2, so we shoot back down here, print out a line, come out here, x, add 1 to x equals 3, 3 is less than 4. See where we're going here? So we print out 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, because when we do that, when it's 3, shoot down here, y is 0 again, 0 is less than 3, and then we do the same thing that we did for all the other ones. So it would be 3, 0, 3, 1, 3, 2, and then because 4 is, when x becomes 4, it's not less than 4, we're out of the loop, we're done. So that's basically how the for loops work as well as the nested for loops. The while loops are good for like using sentinel values, or you can use them like for loops, that's fine, but the difference here is that you have to declare your variables outside the loop. So in this case, I declared my variable sentinel right out here. You could call it x if you want, so for x equals 0 or something like that, or however you wanted to. And if you wanted to have while x is less than 10, you can do that as well. It's different ways that you can do it. I'm just going to show you how this whole sentinel thing works. So while I'm going to have it so while sentinel does not equal 0, and so we're going to have to enter in values. So anyway, back to the point of what the while loop has. You have a variable that's declared outside the while loop. You have a condition. In this case, mine is sentinel does not equal 0. And you don't have to use sentinel. Again, remember, x, y, whatever variable you want. And then in this, you have to have a way to increment the sentinel value. And in my case, because if you don't increment it, you have a perpetual loop or an infinite loop. I increment my sentinel loop not by saying x++ or y++ or sentinel++. I force my user to enter in a number. So that's how we increment it there. So if they enter 1, 2, 1,000, it doesn't matter. What's going to end up happening is that as long as it's not 0, the loop is going to run. So let's show you. I still have this thing running. And so enter a positive number or 0 to quit. So let's enter 1. Okay, 1 is your number, and that's asking me to enter another number, 2. So 2 is another number. Let's enter 67. 67 is a positive. So 888, we'll just keep on going. And oh, went too high on that one because I have an int, and apparently that is too high an int. So let's run it again. I can't do it that big. My bad. It's supposed to hold higher numbers, but the way that I've got it set up, it's not holding that high of an int. So again, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 67, 88888, and then that works fine. And now we're done. We want to get out of this loop. We'll enter in 0, and this will take us into the do while loop. So here, the do while loop. So we're going to talk about that. The do while loop is different from the while loop in that it always runs through the code at least once. So here we go. This is part int a equals 1. So we actually have this. Let me drag that down. That's part of the do while that I'm doing. We've declared a variable, and we're doing while a is less than 10. So how it works is you declare your integer. You go to your do, you run your code. So it's run through the code. It hasn't even checked to see what you have to do or your condition. And then it adds a number to it in this case. Now notice you could have put a sentinel in this too, but I decided to show you a difference. I'm putting a variable a in there that's just going to increment just like a for loop. So a++, and then it checks to see what your condition is. So it comes here, goes through the do, comes in here, does your code, adds 1 to a, and then checks it. So now it's run through the code at least one time, checks to see that 1 is less than 10, so it shoots back up to the do and does it again. So then it becomes 2. Then it keeps on doing the same thing with all the other loops. It always checks the condition. As long as the condition is met, it shoots back up to the starting point. In this case, that's this, and runs the code. The minute that this became 10, and you can see up here how that worked, the minute that it became 10, it stopped, exited the loop, and that's done. So in a nutshell, and that is the 3 different types of loops. Remember, I'm only going to be probably testing you I will only be testing you nested loops with a for loop. I'm not going to worry about nested whiles and nested do, but guess what? You can do those if you want. So let me know if you have any questions in the time being.